let's talk about the finale of The Circle.
Yeah. Okay.
This is another show. I think it's only been it was out. It's only had 4 months. I mean 4 weeks, so just 1 month.
Yeah.
But it had what 10 episodes.
Yeah.
They spaced it out over a month, and because
Was it a month?
it was only a month.
I thought it was like 3 weeks.
They did one release, then another, then another.
Yeah, 3.
So, again, we've recorded a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know offhand what all has
We
been
need to
published.
just talk about what we saw, which was the finale.
Yes.
So basically, we saw.
We've seen all of it, but
No, but I know. But what I'm saying is, the very beginning, we see the super secret influencer block the very last person from the circle.
right. It's my hope that you have been watching. If you're listening or you're watching us on YouTube, The Circle, and you're just ready to talk about the finale. We were shocked that Madeline blocked Jadeja.
Yeah.
It did.
Devastating.
It seemed like the smartest move, and it would have been the smartest move, was to block the person who had been the 3-time influencer.
Right.
And not 2-time with one disruptor influencer, but I'm talking about the certified 3-time influencer,
Yeah.
Gianna from The Circle. But ultimately, she stayed true to Kevin, whose prime target was Jadeja.
She, for some reason, her and Kevin truly trusted each other and became each other's number one allies. And I don't even understand how that happened. Because Kevin was not really anybody's number one ally. He had 2 number one allies that he sent home.
Yeah, it was all fortuitous because of the profile swap she had with Rachel, needing to build that alliance with Kevin. They both needed him to rank them highly. Him being desperate and needing allies because of his situation. It all ended up working out for everybody involved. And actually, it didn't because neither of them won.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I think that's why she ended up saving Gianna, because Kevin really influenced her.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were disappointed that Jadeja left, and then in the finale we had Kevin, Gianna, Madeline, Tiara, and Rachel.
I think, in my opinion, this has been the best season so far. Now, I've seen a lot of people online who disagree. I've seen a lot of people who were actively like a little turned off that this season became so schemy and backstabby, but
this was probably the messiest season.
Oh, it's 100% the most messiest, most combative. And I find that really entertaining. I think coming from Big Brother, especially OG Big Brother, it's a little more palatable. We have maybe higher tolerance for that kind of competing. But, I guess I'm willing to accept that this was a little different than if you were looking for the all smiles, we make jokes and, make connections and talk about our traumas and our future ambitions. And then we just pick the person at the end we like the most. I mean, to me, that's a little like, what are we watching?
Yeah.
I can understand how being frustrated with Madeline and her lying. And that, I think, now she was not the only, she was definitely the biggest liar and most bold-faced of a liar.
Yeah. And really schemer and trying to manipulate.
And for those who didn't like that aspect, you can't deny that she got her comeuppance.
Yeah, she did. I mean, she was a super secret influencer. The last super secret influencer. That's a pretty good position to be in.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like this season so much. Of course, we know if you're watching. Hopefully, if you're watching and listening, that Gianna ended up winning.
Mm-hmm. Which she was your favorite.
Right. And she was a good strategic player because she, again, she got eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for the disruptor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The whole season would have been entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that she's the best, or the 2 Scarlata twins. But we call them by their profile names. The best circle player ever, and it's play the exact game people liked.
Yeah,
she never lied to Jadeja. She just got out of her the people that weren't You know what I mean? Yeah. As advantageous for her. She never was a backstabber. She was very genuine. You know what I mean? True. She called other people out on them doing that. Mm-hmm. So you got that winner who is, genuine and true to themselves, and you saw the mess, and those people who did the mess ended up getting ridiculed on Netflix, national TV. Yeah. I don't know why. That's exactly what we want. Yeah. I guess they just didn't like that they got rid of Jadeja. Yeah. I saw a lot of Jadeja fans who were mad. And Jadeja, H-Town, we also wanted you to be in that final. We didn't want you to be cut right before.
No, we were all for you. So then they have, the reunion. And it's kind of, it's a reunion to figure out. And then they show, who won. Right. And we've never had an explosive reunion like that.
It was like the circle chats. We've never had circle chats like the ones this season, where it felt like sometimes circle chats. I was like, what were you talking about?
There've been some in the past where they got a little bit okay.
But they had 3 or 4 or 5 circle chats this season that would have been the most explosive on previous seasons. Yeah, true. And it was happening every episode. True. It felt like true. And you're right. The finale in that same way. It all started with Madeline having to admit, I made up everything about the Darian stuff. Yeah. Which totally changed Kevin's game. Which totally changed Darian's game. Which totally changed Gianna's game. It changed the entire game.
Yep. And they were, Jadeja, oh my gosh, I loved how she was like, I knew Madeline was a snake. Right. I knew she was being messy. Right. And then Madeline starts crying because she's just like, I just was trying to win, basically. Right. And then she said something else, and
she said, "Well, it got you on that couch. So
yeah,
don't cry about it."
Well, no, Madeline said something, and Jadeja was like, "That's why I do not want to see you crying anymore." Right, and I was like, "Yes, thank you." Right. Because I think Madeline said, "It got me on this couch. Like, look where I'm at." Right. And then that's why Jadeja was like, then stop crying about it, basically. Yeah. And I loved that. Okay, so we did say Gianna won, right?
Right. Yeah. And here's what's crazy about it. The final 3, the top 4, I actually think, was, the best players. The winner was Gianna. Yeah. Kevin, and which we'll talk about more, came in second. Third was Rachel, who was a good player after the swap, but not as good as the other 2. And Madeline, who was a good player, but in a way that everybody hated. Yeah. At 4. And Tiara was not. I
thought it was Tiara, Rachel, Kevin, Madeline, Darian. Or did it...
Oh, you're right. Was Rachel 4th?
I think so.
Oh, okay, well, Rachel and Madeline, they literally swapped profiles. They're interchangeable, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I think they were the best players, and it seemed weird. Like, a lot of the times in the past, in the end, you're kind of like, what? Like, how did they win? And I think it's because people typically strategize with their rankings. Right. Did not seem like they strategized with their rankings on this one, if you ask me.
It's so crazy because before the Secret Super Influencer, Kevin and Gianna outright were ranked 1 and 2. Yeah. And everyone was like, okay, wake up, everyone. Yeah. What are we doing?
3 times they were ranked 1 and 2.
Right. Like, what are we doing? We're not just going to give it to them.
And it just so happened that every person that was like, wake up, got sent home. They got flipped off.
Which is exactly why I think Gianna and Kevin were so good. Yeah. So, and they got the roles they needed. Yeah. Like Kevin made the alliances. Like, this is why Kevin's good. And I guess we'll just segue to him. Kevin made alliances so tight with Darian that Darian picked him to be influencer over Jadeja, who 100% would have sent, like, never in their life would have sent Darian home.
Never.
And Darian was Kevin's target.
And the crazy thing is that Gianna and Jadeja at that time were good. So they would have clipped somebody that they could, I feel like they could have easily agreed on something. Madeline could have gone home.
If Jadeja would have been the disruptor influence, she probably would have sent Kevin home.
Yeah, true.
And then you're right. Kevin made a good enough relationship with Madeline that she got out Jadeja, who would have 100% ranked Gianna and Kevin low and would have changed the rankings. Maybe even to Madeline's benefit and giving her the win.
Yeah.
But I just don't. It just,
Well, and I think that ultimately Kevin and Gianna had, because they were because they were influencer 3 times, they were almost forced to come to
right.
Well, they were forced to come to agreements, and so then they started like a alliance, and I think that people didn't think about that either. Because remember when Jadeja came to Kevin and was like, listen, I'm going to tell you all this. And he was just like, I know all of this.
Right.
So, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it really was. Since the blocking, since them getting saved from the block, Gianna really dominated.
Yeah.
They didn't really make any mistakes. They always stayed on people's good side. They always called out people's BS. They said all the right things in the chat. It's really, you just really couldn't have asked for a better gameplay.
Yeah.
Kevin was the exact opposite. It felt like he was always taking the fall, always getting caught up, but doing the right things, I think, at the right time in the chats. And that's what got him this far. Mm-hmm. We talked about Madeline. I guess the last person, Tiara, their gameplay was.
It just was like not it. If she barely was there, I feel like
they came in and tried to shake things up, but they did it in a kind of way that didn't make people gravitate towards them. Maybe just go like, they're messy. You know what I mean? Like the guy who came and was the last person to come in the circle and end up winning. I think I talked about this in one of the episodes that are kind of lost episodes now. Was just like, he came in, was just like, hey guys.
Yeah.
I tell funny jokes. I'm fun to be around.
Right.
Everybody, let's just be happy and have fun.
Yeah.
And so there was no reason to ever rank him low.
I think that's the best strategy.
Right.
Tiara was kind of instantly like, give me the tea in the group chat. So people was like, oh, she's just here to stir stuff up.
So that leaves Rachel in our final 5.
Yeah, so do you think, for the most part, they were pretty surprised by Rachel, except for Jadeja. She's like, I knew you were older.
That's what I wanted to talk about, is the reveals. That's one part of the circle, is seeing everybody find out who's who and who's a catfish.
It's a little bit awkward, but it is interesting.
Yeah, it's better than Love Is... Like, the Love Is Blind reveals, to me, are always so cringe.
Those are cringe.
And I physically can't bear them.
And they go on for way too long.
These are fun because it's group settings.
Yeah.
You didn't just get engaged to this person. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're just like, oh, we've been talking, and now this is who I've been talking to. Mm-hmm. So Kevin came out first. He's Kevin. Madeline came out, and she's Madeline. Mm-hmm. And, of course he was happy about that. Then I think they said Tiara. Mm-hmm. And it's always weird when they're a little late. When you come in late to the circle, a lot of the OGs don't know you. You don't know the OGs. Mm-hmm. So when those people eventually come in, they're like, okay, who are you? What does it matter? And it was interesting, Tiara talking about, I never took this. It was always like, what are we talking about? When the reason he decided to play Tiara.
Yeah, you never liked that.
Talk about Mel Buterson. I don't want to mock him because that's what his thing is. But my perspective on it is like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, come on.
Yeah, I think he would have done fine as himself.
Probably, honestly, would have done better.
Yeah, I think so too.
Then we had Rachel.
Yeah.
Who was actually Deborah.
Debbie. Yeah.
Oh, Rachel.
She is such a character.
She
loved going out there and showing them who she really was.
Right, and explaining how she wanted to go back and be a younger version of herself. She is the East Coast Angela. Angela from Big Brother.
Yeah.
She is the East Coast version of that. They have their differences, but definitely. That was a big shock to, I think
everyone was surprised. Well, not Jadeja, but most people.
Right. I think Gianna knew that she probably was a catfish, but was so sure about the Staten Island thing that it didn't really matter. You know what I mean? Then finally,
they saved the best for last.
Yes, with the Gianna revealed to be Gianna's boyfriend in real life,
and his twin
brother. The Scarlata, I think is their last name. Twins. playing Gianna, and nobody was expecting it.
Everyone was shocked.
Nobody was like, she's a catfish. Yep. This isn't real. We're getting played.
Yep.
They loved it. They played it up. They're like, Gianna.
Yeah,
Gianna, man.
They loved it.
And then people were just,
yeah.
So again, up there with the best catfish in show history, except for what's her name? She also won playing her husband.
Oh yeah.
But she's also from New York.
Yeah.
I think they're from New York.
I don't remember. I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember their name.
So, that was really fun seeing them. These people already been revealed in the circle chat when they got eliminated, but them getting to see their reaction, Heather finding out that not only was Madeline real. Oh, but she already knew Madeline was real, but that they had switched profiles.
Yeah, everyone was surprised by the profile switch.
Right. Which explains so much. That was such a good finale for me for the circle.
I agree.
I really loved this season. I was never like losing steam per se. I was just a little worried because I'm like, man, because I felt like we had a circle this year already. Was the Corey?
Yeah.
I think the Corey Tyler circle was this year.
I think so.
And I'm just like, oh man, I know Survivor they do 2 seasons in a year.
Oh gosh.
But I was just starting to get a little fatigued. I was like, are we really gonna release 2 of these? Is it worth it?
I know.
If we're gonna get seasons like this, keep them coming.
Yeah, true.
I liked it. I asked Brooke. I was literally standing up, like the Rockets had the final possession to win at the buzzer or something like that. So yeah, it was a good season. And then of course, I guess we'll end on a showman's note. Darian and Jadeja seem to
Have you checked on them?
I haven't. I don't have my phone on it. Maybe while I'm wrapping it up, you can go to one of their Instagrams and verify whether or not they're still together. We'll get some live on the podcast reporting. And Jadeja, speaking of Jadeja and Darian, specifically Jadeja, if by some way you end up seeing this little clip on Instagram or TikTok, we also are in Houston. You know what it's like to be trying to make it on the come up. Come on our show.
Do you know how to spell her name?
Jadeeja. Anyways, I think it's close to that. I could be wrong.
There it is. Oh no, that's not her. Wait, that is her.
Yeah,
but that's her realtor.
Yeah.
She's a realtor?
I guess so. Yeah, Jadeja, come on the show. It doesn't have to be long, but we're in Houston. Just come on for 15 minutes. Tell us about what it was like being on the circle. What it was like growing up in Houston with your backstory. We'd love to have you. Were you able to find out?
Sorry, I'm not finding it.
That's okay. We'll circle back to it later. But speaking of the circle, that's our season of the circle. The one thing I will say is I think we found out or we read that this is one of the seasons that was recorded months, if not years ago, in the pandemic, where they just like recorded a bunch of these, and that's fine because the show is in quarantine. You know what I mean? Who cares?
Dang, she doesn't have updates about her and Darian.
The one thing I will say is we have to have Michelle. Oh, that's the real Gianna.
Yeah, that's her hanging out with the real Gianna.
Okay, well, they can't see this on the pod, so we won't go too long with you just watching.
Oh, there's Darian.
Okay, so we see Darian on the thing.
Yeah, that's Darian.
So,
here's her bestie Garrett is single and ready to mingle.
They can't see what we're seeing.
I know, I'm just showing you.
So that's what I'm saying. We'll talk about it.
That's not fun.
I don't think that makes good content. So we'll do it later.
Bobby.
I'll just let you finish.
So
we're
confirmed, but they are hanging out. But the whole cast is hanging out still. So
okay. So yeah, that's it for the circle. Yeah, it was a good season.